Ready, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. We'll go ahead and call this regular meeting of the East Peoria City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker? Hill?
Here.
Mingus?
Here.
Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present except Commissioner Decker, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the pledge.
Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, thank you for this day and every day that you give us. Our world is complex, whether it's locally, state, or at the national level. We pray for people to come together in compassion and understanding, overcome division and prejudice. We also ask that you guide us in lifting up the most vulnerable. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that the City Council of the City of East Peoria recess the regular meeting to hold a public hearing.
May I have a second?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus and Commissioner Sutherland. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. All right. We have a public hearing on the proposed pre-annexation agreement between the City of East Peoria and Underham LLC. Ty, do you want to handle this?
Sure, thank you. So with properties that are within the mile-and-a-half of the city, we have jurisdiction for subdivision. In the case here, we've got multiple parcels being created, and smart planning would indicate that we would say, okay, we don't expect you to annex right now because the distances are quite far from existing infrastructure that the city has. But what we have asked for is a pre-annexation agreement that says in the next 20 years, should the property become contiguous to the city, those properties would then annex. So this is the kind of procedural process to approve that annexation agreement, which has already been signed by the petitioner. Scott, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I don't really have anything further from the council. Certainly if you have any questions, but just basically a procedural step to get public input and go from there.
Very good. And with that, I'd seek any public input. Anyone wish to address the council on this matter? Yes, sir. Please step forward.
Richard Morris. I live at 2702 Bloomington Road, just east of the properties. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to throw it out there that there's, I'm president of the Calder Homeowners Association, which is 8 houses that are on one well in that area. And our well is like 65 years old. And so there is a good possibility that the water line come from the east, that there would be some houses in there that would be more than happy to hook onto it to alleviate some possible problems that we're facing in the near future.
Okay.
That's just what I wanted you to know.
Yeah, we'll certainly appreciate that. We'll certainly, Ty took a note of that. And
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
yeah, appreciate it. Anyone else wish to make any public comment? No? Hearing none. Any comments from the council?
Another thing I got to say is I'm all for bringing you water. Just tell me when, and I'll make sure it's done. Okay?
Yeah, very good. Okay, with that.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. All right. Approval of the minutes, please.
I've got that as well, Your Honor. Mr. Mayor, I move you that the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 4th, 2025, the minutes of the public hearing held on February 4th, 2025, and the minutes of the special meeting for a working session held on February 11th, 2025 be approved as printed.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried. Okay, public comment. Anyone wish to address the council on an agenda item? Please step forward. Seeing no one? All right. Commissioner Hill, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a consent agenda consisting of items numbered 1 through 6. Item number 1, adoption of resolution number 2425-117, resolution to approve payment of the schedule of bills listed on schedule number 19 in the amount of $639,878.54. Item number 2, adoption of resolution number 2425-108 on second reading, resolution approving extension of software licensing agreement for the city's Geographical Information System, GIS system, with Environmental Systems Research Institute, Inc., ESRI. Item number 3, adoption of resolution number 2425-106 on its second reading, resolution accepting and approving the proposal from Hart Technologies, Inc. for the city's wireless infrastructure upgrade project. Item number 8, adoption of ordinance number 4537 on its second reading, an ordinance prohibiting electronic sweepstakes machines in the city of East Peoria. Item number 5, adoption of resolution number 2425-104 on its second reading, resolution accepting and approving the proposal from Municipal Well and Pump for the well number 1 and 3 rehabilitation project. Item number 6, adoption of ordinance number 4835 on its second reading, an ordinance establishing a reconnection fee for the water users with disconnected water service due to non-payment of water bill, as listed on the agenda for this meeting to be considered by omnibus vote.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mangus. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that items numbered 1 through 6 listed on the consent agenda be hereby approved and adopted, and that items numbered 2 through 6, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Okay, Mayor, I have a few items tonight, so let's get started. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-107, here to attach a resolution abating and eliminating various 2024 tax levies for water and sewer bond issues, tax increment financing bond issues, and development bond issues be hereby approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-107, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
This is a standard practice. We talked about this at the last meeting. We abate tax levies when we do a bond issue. We back our bond issue with a tax levy to get our best bond rates. And in so doing, these bonds are backed by alternate revenue sources. And once we determine that we have sufficient revenue to pay those bonds, then we abate the tax levy, and essentially we take that off the tax levy. And so we have determined we have sufficient revenues to cover the bonds, and so we abate those on an annual basis.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4836, here to attach, an ordinance partially abating the 2024 tax levy in the amount of the recapture revenue from the adjustments for certificates of error, certain court orders, and final adjustment decisions or administrative decisions of the Property Tax Appeal Board, having been read once by its title and having laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection, be adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Okay, we talked about this abatement. It is back in 21, the statutory code was adjusted to do favors, I guess, for municipalities or taxing bodies where we will automatically get our tax levy adjusted for those items that I read. If somebody's appraised value is adjusted or other errors. And what we do here, we're abating that. We are not accepting the revenue that would come from that recapture. And so that's what this ordinance is about.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
And the next two are related to our public hearing at the beginning. So, Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4845 here to attach, an ordinance approving the pre-annexation agreement between the City of East Peoria and Underham LLC for the old Bloomington Road subdivision property be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance 4845 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. Madam Clerk?
Whereas Underham LLC, owner of property described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated by reference, that is located to the east of the city outside the city limits of the property, has agreed to enter into a pre-annexation agreement with the city that would establish the terms and conditions under which the property will be annexed into the city when the property becomes contiguous with the city boundaries, the pre-annexation agreement. Whereas Underham LLC has further requested that the city approve subdivision plat for the property, which will be designated the Old Bloomington Road subdivision, and whereas the property constitutes territory which is or may someday be contiguous to and may be eligible to be annexed to the City of East Peoria as provided by the provisions of Division 1 of Article 7 of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/7-1-1 et sec, and whereas pursuant to the provisions of Division 15.1 of Article 11 of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 ILCS 5/11-15.11 et sec, the pre-annexation agreement was submitted to the corporate authorities for the City of East Peoria, and a public hearing was held on this pre-annexation agreement on February 18, 2025. Prior to the approval of this ordinance and pursuant to proper and lawful notice as provided by statute, whereas the City Council, after due careful consideration, has concluded that the annexation of the property to the City of East Peoria and the terms and conditions set forth in the pre-annexation agreement would further the orderly growth of the city, enable the city to control further development of the city and the property, permit the sound planning and development of the city. And whereas the City Council hereby finds that it is in the best interest of the city to approve and enter into the pre-annexation agreement with Underham LLC attached hereto as Exhibit B. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois as follows. Section 1, the findings and recitations here and above set forth are hereby adopted and found to be correct. Section 2, the City Council hereby agrees to enter into the pre-annexation agreement attached hereto as Exhibit B with the property owner, and further authorizes and directs the mayor to execute said pre-annexation agreement as attested by the city clerk. Section 3, the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to file for record in the office of the Recorder of Deeds of Tazewell County, Illinois, fully execute a copy of the pre-annexation agreement. Section 4, this ordinance shall be in full force and effective from and after its passage approval by a 2/3 vote of the members of the City Council now holding office, and approval in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And again, the pre-meeting really touched on this pre-annexation agreement. The next case is actually the plat of the old Bloomington Road property at 2518. If within the next 20 years, the city expands out and touches these properties, then these properties will be annexed into the city.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4846 here to attach, an ordinance approving the final subdivision plat for the old Bloomington Road subdivision be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance number 4846 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Madam Clerk?
Whereas Michael Cochran of Austin Engineering has now submitted a final plat for the Old Bloomington Road subdivision on behalf of Underham LLC, hereinafter the petitioner being the owner of a parcel of property located outside the city's corporate limits within 1.5 miles of the corporate limits with the address of 2518 Bloomington Road, East Peoria, shown and described at Exhibit A attached to. Incorporated here by reference identified as PIN 050502302021, which property as so described is hereinafter referred to as the property. And whereas petitioner has submitted a preliminary plat for the Old Bloomington Road subdivision in October 2020, 2024, which was approved by the City Council by ordinance number 4824 on November 2024. Whereas petitioner has now submitted a final plat for Old Bloomington Road subdivision as set forth in Exhibit B attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference hereinafter the final subdivision plat. Whereas the final subdivision plat is in substantial compliance with the provisions of the East Peoria Subdivision Code for a final subdivision plat for a subdivision of 5 or more parcels. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, the final subdivision plat for the Old Bloomington Road subdivision Exhibit B is hereby approved for recording purposes. Section 2, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized respectively to execute and attest such certificates as are necessary to indicate approval of the final subdivision plat for the Old Bloomington Road subdivision. Section 3, this ordinance is in addition to all other ordinances on the subject, shall be construed therewith excepting as to that part in direct conflict with any other ordinance. And in the event of such conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 4, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you look at the details related to this property, again, the address is 2518, and the plat there shows that if you come up from Matheny Road, if you know the area on Bloomington Road, it's about 5 properties down from where that comes up from the old Glendale Church. And so again, there's 7 properties platted out on this subdivision plat. And that's it.
Very good.
Well, I was going to mention, excuse me, I'm sorry. It was 1,000, you know, this particular ones, when they talk about the proximity to the city, it's 1,000 feet from the nearest city parcel, and about 2,400 feet from the nearest water main, so that's it.
There you go. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4844 hereto attached, an ordinance authorizing special use for child daycare center on property located at 90 Eastgate Drive in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Okay. This petition from Justin Farrell on behalf of Blue Jays Learning Center. This is across from the entrance of ICC. You know what did I do? Yeah, the Eastgate Drive. Again, they're going to use it for child care purposes, and at the ZBA meeting, they voted 5-0 to support the petition, as long as all the safety concerns with the fire chief and fire department are taken care of, and that's usually standard protocol anyway, but that was one of their conditions. So
And they've already given the approval.
okay. So there you go. So again, it's just looking for a special use to operate a daycare in this address.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4839 hereto attached, an ordinance establishing R5 zoning classification for senior living facilities in the zoning code for the city of East Peoria be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance number 4839 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Whereas city officials and staff are in the process of updating the city's comprehensive plan, which includes reviewing residential areas in the city, plan residential growth both inside and outside the city. Whereas in the process of reviewing and updating the city's comprehensive plan, it's been determined that a gap exists in zero-step housing and rental units targeted towards seniors who are looking to downsize. And whereas city officials and staff have further found that senior housing continues to be a high priority need in the city as the city's elder population continues to increase, whereas city officials and staff have determined that a new zoning classification for senior living facilities will allow the city to focus senior living facilities in areas where services such as public safety, mass transit, water and sewer service, and the like are more readily available, whereas city officials and staff have determined that a new zoning classification for senior living facilities encourages property in this new zoning district will allow expansion of these facilities without a special use, as senior living facilities are currently considered a special use in the current R4 multifamily zoning district, whereas city officials and staff have further determined that establishing a new zoning classification for senior living facilities will also encourage new senior living development on an unimproved property in the future. And whereas after holding a hearing on February 10, 2025, pursuant to duly published notice, the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals has recommended approval of the proposed new zoning classification for senior living facilities. Whereas the City Council hereby finds that establishing a new zoning classification for senior living facilities as provided herein serves the best interest and the public good of the City of East Peoria and its citizens, and will greatly assist in promoting the expansion of available senior living options in the city. Now therefore be it ordained by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, that Section 1, new Section 7 is hereby added to the Title 5, Chapter 9 of East Peoria City Code, Zoning Code, as follows. 5-9-7, R5, Senior Living Facilities District, 8 permitted uses. Following shall be permitted uses in the R5 Senior Living Facilities District if they're limited to senior citizens age 55 on up. 1, one-family row dwellings, party wall type. 2, multifamily dwellings and apartments. 3, rest homes and nursing homes. 4, emergency shelters for victims of domestic abuse not located within 660 feet of an existing community residence as measured from lot line to lot line. B, special uses. The following uses may be allowed in the R5 district by special use permit in accordance with the provisions of this title. 1, any use permitted as a special use in the R1, one-family dwelling district may be permitted in any R5 district in accordance with the provisions of Section 5-12-10. 2, off-street parking, public parking areas and garages. Provided there is a need for this facility and that no appropriate site is available in nearby business or manufacturing districts. 3, public buildings included art gallery, library, museum, or similar structures. 4, hospices. 5, telephone exchanges, antenna towers, and other outdoor equipment essential to the operation of the exchange. 6, mobile home parks subject to Title 3, Chapter 15. 7, transitional uses, boarding houses, lodging houses, tourist homes, having not more than 5 rooms for transient guests. Principal offices of physicians, dentists, lawyers, architects, and similar professional occupations, provided that A, such use is conducted in a residential structure used primarily as a home. B, such residential structure is located on a lot having a sideline adjoining a lot in a business or manufacturing district or adjacent to a railroad right-of-way, or when facing business or manufacturing district or railway right-of-way directly across the street or alley. C, the lot on which the transitional use is located does not extend more than 75 feet from the adjoining business or manufacturing district, or more than 120 feet in depth from the street line in cases where the lot does not adjoin but faces a business or manufacturing district. And D, the transitional use is conducted in conjunction with the use of a dwelling unit as a home by the occupant thereof, and that the residential character of the exterior of the dwelling is not changed. Medical clinics are not included or permitted. 8, outdoor satellite dishes or other outdoor parabolic apparatus designed to receive electromagnetic transmissions, which apparatus is more than 3 feet in diameter. 9, halfway houses. 10, emergency shelters other than those for victims of domestic violence. 11, buildings taller than 55 feet. C, building height. No building in the R5 district shall hereinafter be erected or structurally altered to exceed 5 stories, nor shall it exceed 55 feet in height unless permitted by special use. D, yard area. No building in the R5 district shall be erected or enlarged unless the following yards are provided and maintained in connection with such building or enlargement. 1, front yard. Each lot upon which a building is constructed shall have a front yard setback of 30 feet wherein there shall be no structure of any kind or outdoor storage. 2, side yard. On exterior lots there shall be a side yard on each side of the main building not less than 10 feet or 15 feet for any side yard adjacent to property located in the R1, R2, or R3 residential dwelling districts. 3, rear yard. Every lot upon which a building is constructed shall have a rear yard of not less than 25 feet. 4, platted building setbacks. Under such circumstances, a building to be constructed or enlarged in the R5 district will be located on a lot created by a recorded plat which contains or is subject to building setback or yard requirements which exceed the preceding front side, or rear yard requirements. Under such circumstances, a greater requirement shall apply. 5, lot coverage. Not more than 40% of the area of a lot in the R5 district may be covered by buildings or structures. 6, courts. No inner court or courts completely surrounded on all sides by a building shall be permitted in R5 district. Outer courts are permitted. 7, dwelling standards. The dwelling standards for the R5 district shall be the same as section 5.9-5F. Efficiency apartments, which shall have a total area of not less than 350 square feet. 8, lot size. Every building hereinafter erected or structurally altered as a multifamily dwelling, apartment, or row dwelling of 3 or more dwelling units in the R5 senior living facility district shall provide a lot area per dwelling unit not less than 2,000 square feet. No other building hereinafter erected or structurally altered in the R5 district shall have a total lot area of less than 6,000 square feet, nor a lot width at the established building line of less than 60 feet. Section 2, this ordinance shall be is hereby ordered to be published in pamphlet form by the East Peoria City Clerk, and said clerk is ordered to keep at least 3 copies hereof for public inspection in the future in accordance with the Illinois Municipal Code. Section 3, this ordinance is in addition to all the ordinances on the subject and shall be therewith construed therewith, excepting as to that part in direct conflict with any other ordinance, and in the event of such conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 4, if any section, paragraph, clause, or provision of this ordinance shall be held invalid, the invalidity of such section, paragraph, clause, or provision shall not affect any of the other provisions of this ordinance. Section 5, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage approval, 10-day period of publication in a manner provided by law.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to turn it over to Ty. There's a lot of details in there on this, on the rezoning, or actually the creation of this new zoning classification known as R5. So I'm going to turn it over to him for further details.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Morgan. My apologies. That was rather long-winded. So this is establishing a new zoning district. And the complement, which is the next item, is going to get into identifying specific locations that we're proposing to rezone. This is an outgrowth of our comprehensive planning effort. And one of the things we've heard, we're about 80% of the way through that process. And one of the things we've heard reoccurringly has been more options are desired by our residents for seniors, more living options. You know, what's out there. You can think of traditional senior living facilities, but also, you know, ones that are maybe more, have more flexibility to them or more independent living. There's a lot of different opportunities there. And so what we want to do is to establish a new zoning district to preserve and encourage the growth of those. And one of the things I think was mentioned early on in the code that Morgan read is that it takes away the special use requirement if the facility, if the location is properly zoned, that special use requirement is no longer needed. So it's designed to streamline that process to some extent. We're also looking at appropriate locations. So thinking of the Centennial Road or Centennial Drive corridor, we have a number of senior facilities that have located there over the past several years. And now at the opening of Station 2, we now have a tremendous response time to those locations, and if there's others to go out there as well. We're going to take a look at those sorts of things. So as we look at properties, we've got the existing senior living facilities that are identified in our next item. But we're also going to look at, you know, are there other places that are appropriate? And looking at response times for emergency services, looking at making sure that we've got sufficient infrastructure in place, and then also looking at other supports that these senior facilities would need, thinking of being on a mass transit line, those types of things. You know, so not every property in the city would make sense for this type of development, but certainly a district that is going to be beneficial in trying to encourage that. Leading up to the ZBA hearing and at the ZBA hearing, really what we heard from was residents of these facilities wanting to make sure that we weren't changing them, and we're not. This does not change what they're doing. We want them to continue and to hopefully thrive where they're at. So that's certainly an emphasis here. The other item that came up had to do with age limits. In the code here, it mentions 55, and I think that the senior living facilities have some variety. Some will say we want 65 plus, some say 62 plus, some say 55. I don't know that we're telling, you know, these developments what they want to set their age limit at, but we want it to be senior focused, whatever that definition is. So basically, the code change, like I said, is designed to encourage and preserve those types of developments that are out there, and we're looking forward to this having that impact and streamlining that process for approval.
Very good.
Just only additional comment that I'll mention is the ZBA voted 5-0 in support of this code change.
Very good. Any discussion? I'm hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4843 here to attach an ordinance changing the zoning classification for senior living facility properties in the city of East Peoria to the new R5 Senior Living Facilities zoning district be read at length by the clerk, and that said ordinance number 4843 be accepted on its first reading and be hereby adopted as presented.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. I actually think Ty Livingston's going to read it.
I'm going to pinch hit for the clerk here, so bear with me.
Okay.
Ordinance number 4843, an ordinance changing the zoning classification for senior living facility properties in the city of East Peoria to the new R5 Senior Living Facility zoning district. Whereas the hereinafter described real property, the properties, located in the city of East Peoria, Tazewell County, Illinois, are currently classified under the East Peoria zoning code as R4 multifamily dwelling district. And whereas city officials and staff are in the process of updating the city's comprehensive plan and have determined that a gap exists in the zero-step housing and rental units targeted towards seniors who are looking to downsize, and whereas city officials and staff have further found that senior housing continues to be a high priority need in the city as the city's older population continues to increase, and whereas city officials and staff have proposed a new R5 residential zoning district should be established for senior living facilities that will foster and assist with maintaining and developing senior living facilities in the city of East Peoria, and whereas city officials and staff have further determined that establishing a new R5 zoning classification for senior living facilities will be focused senior living facilities in areas where important services are more readily available, such as public safety and mass transit, while also encouraging and promoting new senior development on unimproved properties in the future. And whereas the city has previously petitioned the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals to approve the creation of the new R5 Senior Living Facilities zoning district for senior living facilities. And whereas after holding a public hearing on February 10th, 2025, pursuant to duly published notice, the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals has recommended approval of the proposed new zoning classification for senior living facilities, and the City Council has adopted this new R5 Senior Living Facilities zoning district by ordinance number 4839. And whereas the city now seeks to rezone the properties from their current R4 multifamily dwelling district zoning classification to this new R5 Senior Living Facilities zoning classification, which currently includes all the senior living facilities in the city of East Peoria, are listed below. 200 Carlton Avenue, Washington, Illinois, pins 0202 30 118 001 004, 002 30 118 015, and 002 30 118 016 is depicted in Exhibit A. 1000 Centennial, no, it's cutting out. 1000 Centennial Drive, East Peoria, Illinois, pin number 010124 100 001, as depicted in Exhibit B. 900 Centennial Drive, East Peoria, Illinois, pin 010124 100 024, as depicted in Exhibit B. 500 Centennial Drive, East Peoria, Illinois, pins 010123 200 025 and 0101 14 400 021, as depicted in Exhibit B. 4000 North Main Street, East Peoria, Illinois, pin 0101 14 201 014, as depicted in Exhibit C. 901 Illini Drive, East Peoria, Illinois, pin number 0101 26 300 009, as depicted in Exhibit D. And 130 North Main Street, East Peoria, Illinois, pin 0101 33 302 015, as depicted in Exhibit E. With each above referenced exhibit attached hereto and incorporated by reference, collectively, all the above list of properties comprise the properties. And whereas the city has also previously petitioned the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals regarding the proposed amendment to the zoning map of the city of East Peoria for the purpose of changing the zoning classification of the properties from R4 multifamily dwelling district to the new R5 senior living facilities district. And whereas the city provided prior proper notice to all property owners of the properties regarding the proposed creation of the new R5 senior living facilities district, the proposed rezoning of their property to the new R5 senior living facilities district, and the meeting of the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals on February 10th, 2025, at which the city's petition would be heard, during which the property owners could provide comment and input on both the proposed new R5 zoning district and the rezoning of their properties to the new R5 zoning district. And whereas, after holding a public hearing on February 10th, 2025, pursuant to duly published notice, the East Peoria Zoning Board of Appeals has recommended approval of the rezoning of the properties from the R4 multifamily dwelling district to the new R5 senior living facilities district. And whereas, the City Council hereby finds that establishing rezoning of the properties to the new R5 senior living facilities district is in the best interest of the City of East Peoria and its citizens' zoning classification, serves the best interest in the public good, and is consistent with the city's interest in promoting and enabling continued presence and maintenance of the senior living facilities currently located in the city, and will promote and enable new senior living development in the future. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the East Peoria, Illinois, Tazewell County, as follows. Section 1, the foregoing recitals are hereby adopted and found to be correct. Section 2, the zoning classification of each of the properties herein listed, shown and described in Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, Exhibit D, and Exhibit E, are hereby changed from R4 multifamily dwelling district to R5 senior living facilities district. Section 3, upon the effective date of this ordinance, the change in the zoning classification hereby is adopted shall be marked in the official zoning map of the City of East Peoria. Section 4, this ordinance is hereby ordered to be published in pamphlet form by the East Peoria City Clerk, who is ordered to keep at least 3 copies hereof available for public inspection in the manner provided by law. Section 5, this ordinance is in addition to all other ordinances on the subject, and shall be construed therewith, excepting as to that part of direct conflict of any other ordinance. In the event of such conflict, the provisions hereof shall govern. Section 6, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage, approval, and 10-day period of publication in the manner provided by law.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you, Ty. I guess just to add some layman's terminology to the address and pins, as lifetime residents would know these properties as Leisure Acres, the Village of Hollybrook, River Crossing, Accolade, Serenity, Fond du Lac Nursing, and Mel Hastings. So those are the properties that have long been serving our senior citizens or senior people, and those are the properties that will be rezoned in this ordinance here. And so that's about it.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4838 hereto attached, an ordinance providing for the sale of excess city property at 1654 Meadow Avenue in East Peoria be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
This property, the council may recognize because this is the second time we're attempting to resell. The first, I think it was sealed bids before it came in. We accepted the top bid at the time, and the particular purchaser did not follow through and continue on the option to buy. So now we've got an offer from Angela, and I may butcher, Weinzierl for $8,571 plus $1,000 closing. So that exceeds the appraisal value. Again, by law, we're required or ordinance to get 80% of the appraised value. This property is in great need for remediation. So the person here had an interest at one point in time. They did have family member living in this property, so they have a little bit of a tie to it, and we wish them the best of luck in rehabbing the property and bringing it back to a effective usefulness for that property.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-111, here to attach a resolution accepting bids for the 2025 street maintenance program projects funded by motor fuel tax funds for the City of East Peoria be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-111 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Sutherland?
Okay, this is one of two tonight. So again, what a normal thing for us to occur. So as you may have caught in the description there, what we have in front of us is the resolution for the council to accept the proposal of $975,746.16. And this represents the funds that we have previously budgeted over $1 million of motor fuel tax. And so the amount comes in at $975,000. So what it is there's four different elements, three different elements related to the road and engineering services. So I'll read those aloud. The awarded contractors to be awarded, R.A. Cullinan and Sons for seal coating and fog coating at $430,241.93. American Asphalt Recycling is for the heat scarification, $384,722.94. D&D Pavement Solutions for spray patching, $84,058. Engineering and materials testing, $76,723.29. And so, again, what we have, this particular resolution here is to cover the motor fuel tax and those awardings for that work.
And I'd just like to point out, actually, the bids came in under our estimated cost. So that's a good thing. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would like to know who the engineer is on this
It is
project.
Patrick Meyer.
Well, I think it's due time that the city hires an engineer, because if we're spending $70-some thousand on one project, I think we could afford to hire our own engineer, because that would be quite a chunk out of his working year-round for us. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. We need our own engineer in this town as far as I'm concerned.
Just to clarify, it's not, you said one project, it's all those road projects that fall under those.
Yeah, but what you don't understand, and that is that every time I apply for a water permit from the EPA, I have to hire that out to an engineer. And it's $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 at a time. And if you have a lot of small projects like that, between these two items here, then that covers an employee year-round. And I guarantee you he's not here year-round. He's here just a few days during the project, a month and a year.
That's not true. I will defend him.
I can drive by those projects and not find him.
Okay. Well, I will tell you, and I will defend him. He's not here to defend himself, but he does an excellent job on behalf of the city. But more importantly, I'll say this, and I've said it before, go back 9 years ago when I was first elected to this council as a commissioner. This is a year-by-year basis. If you want a better rate, then negotiate a longer-term agreement with an engineer, and you'll see a better rate. So the city has only done that one time in the 9 years I've been here. So just throwing that out there as an option. I'm not discounting your comments, Commissioner. I'm just clarifying my position. So any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Mingus?
Aye.
Sutherland?
No.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
I have 3 ayes and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-115, here to attach a resolution accepting bids for the 2025 street maintenance program projects funded by general funds for the City of East Peoria be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you move you that this resolution number 2425-115 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Very similar to the last one. The only difference is again, we've went through our budgeting process, allocated for $2 million, and what this is the road improvement projects coming from our general funds, and dollar amounts a little bit bigger. Again, come under where's I got the title 199 somewhere. I lost the exact title. It was 199. Oh yeah, $1,999,001.64. And how that breaks down is, again, the contracts being awarded to R.A. Cullinan and Son for seal coating and fog coating for $812,102.91. American Asphalt Service Recycling for the heat scarification of $706,616.98. D&D Pavement Solutions spray patching at $150,600, and the engineering services related to the non-MTF is $149,681.75. So again, those are the awards. So between the two of them, we've got nearly $1 million in motor fuel tax and almost $2 million. So we've got allocated over $3 million so far in road improvement related projects.
Very good. And then did you mention the contingency as part of that?
Oh,
The
I forget. There's 100 in that total amount of 199 was another 178,000 for contingency that may be used for other projects or overruns.
Very good. Any discussion?
Just a quick question, and
Yep.
it's Patrick Meyer, also the engineering on that.
Correct.
That's correct.
So I'm going to support this, and I think Patrick does a great job too. So my question is not, but to Commissioner Sutherland's point, that's 140 some plus 70,
225,000.
and I've got another 32,000 here for the east side parking lot engineering. So we're talking
250 plus.
for 1 day's worth of. We could definitely hire an engineer for $250,000, engineer plus benefits and everything for that. I mean, so I do think Commissioner Sutherland has. I'm going to support this, and I think Patrick does a great job. So I have no issues with that. But from a financial standpoint, $250,000 today, and that's just a handful of projects.
Sure. Okay. Well noted. Any other discussion?
No, I think that I appreciate your support. Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
I
Sutherland,
Nope.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
I have 3 ayes and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-114 here to attach resolution approving the purchase of a 2024 Ford F-150 4x4 crew cab from Uftring Ford for the street department be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-114 be accepted on its first reading, be as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Time to time, we need vehicles. We purchase vehicles all the time. In this particular case, we're going to be buying a vehicle, Uftring Ford. The vehicle I described is a 2024 Ford F-150. The total cost of $49,294.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-110 here to attach resolution accepting and approving the proposal from Midwest Public Safety for the purchase of 10 new GTAC laptops for the city be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-110 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week, 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Well, the G-Tacs go, I believe those are our hardened laptops that go into our police-related vehicles. And so over time, again, we replace these we replace these laptops as they age out or become damaged. And in this particular case, getting 10 of them from Midwest Public Safety for $37,500.
May I have a second, please? Oh, nope. I already had a second, I'm sorry. Ahead of myself. Discussion?
Wait, who's second?
That was
That one was me.
Mingus, yeah.
Hold on, I didn't write it down.
Too many items you got tonight.
I
Ahead of myself.
got a
here.
few more.
Yeah. All right, roll call?
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you, motion carried.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4840 hereto attached an ordinance approving the tax increment financing district eligibility study and the redevelopment plan and the project for the East Peoria Riverfront Redevelopment Project area be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
I'm going to turn this over to Scott for further information on this. I guess one thing I'll say, last meeting we had a public hearing on the Riverfront TIF district, and so this is one of two that we've got back to, or three actually, that are related to it tonight. And Scott, I guess, can summarize all three in anticipation, or we'll get the details after each one.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Yes, as you noted, we had the public hearing, which was one of the procedural steps in establishing the new proposed TIF district, which is the area that we're looking at to redevelop as the corridor northeast of I-74 and then northwest of Illinois Route 116 along the river up there up to Access Road 4. We've talked about that in the past. This is nearly the last step in the process, but this is the formal process where you as a city council approve the new TIF district. These are quite lengthy ordinances, so we'll do those over a course of 2 readings. Save us a lot, especially after all the reading tonight. But just a quick reminder, we put the eligibility study and report on file back on November 8th. That was the first step in this process. And actually, this first ordinance approves that eligibility study and report that was prepared by the city for the new proposed East Peoria Riverfront TIF district. And this first ordinance basically supports the findings made in that report, while also pointing out that making the appropriate findings regarding blighting and the properties meet the qualifications for both vacant and developed land and meeting those requirements, and also that along with those general findings regarding the blighting characteristics of the properties, we also note that the majority of the building structures on these properties are over 35 years of age. That's another qualifying factor that is taken into consideration. There's no residential properties in any portion of these properties, which is also a factor to note, just because if there's other procedural steps. A couple other things of importance to note about this first ordinance and the findings that it makes is essentially that no growth or redevelopment has occurred in this area for several decades now, which is why it's been targeted for this new TIF district, as well as essentially but for putting this TIF district in place, we don't expect to have much redevelopment occur in this corridor. So this helps the city kind of shape that redevelopment moving forward through the next 23 years of the TIF district, and to assist potentially redeveloping that area and building infrastructure. So with all that being said, I know we covered that in great detail at the public hearing 2 weeks ago. So this is the first of 3 ordinances that the city council needs to adopt to establish the new East Peoria Riverfront TIF district. And this first ordinance like I said, I think I've alluded to already, this just essentially is approving those findings in the report that was put on file back in November, and allows us to take the next steps in actually setting up the TIF district, which will be done in the next 2 ordinances.
Very good. Thank you, Scott.
Very good, Scott. Thank you. I have nothing more further to add on that one.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4841, here to attach an ordinance designating the East Peoria Riverfront redevelopment project area be accepted on its first reading as read by its title, be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus.
Scott, would you like to, this is 2 of 3, so
Yep.
this is now designating the riverfront TIF.
Exactly, yeah. This is a separate ordinance. It's required to be a separate ordinance. We can't roll them all into one. This is, as Commissioner Hill has just indicated, this is actually designating the area that we've set aside as the new TIF district. So this actually establishes this area as the new area for the redevelopment area for the new TIF, East Peoria Riverfront TIF district.
Very good. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I move you that ordinance number 4842, here to attach an ordinance adopting tax increment financing for the East Peoria Riverfront redevelopment project area be accepted on its first reading as read by a title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Okay, as Scott alluded up to, this is step 3.
Batter up.
Yep,
Yeah.
Here we go, the last one, last of the 3 ordinances. This is the ordinance that actually established the TIF portion of the TIF district, which is the tax increment financing. We kind of talked about that the public hearing, what that exactly means, but that just essentially allows the city to capture the incremental growth, which is the growth that would occur should redevelopment take place in the tax base of the property. So the ordinances we are now adopting establish the baseline at the current value for those properties. So any increased value in those properties that would happen to occur in redevelopment, that's the part that the city is able to recapture and then use to refinance the infrastructure and other projects in the TIF. So this sets up that TIF financing structure for the newly designated TIF district.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, I conclude for tonight.
Very good. Hey, you didn't do too bad. 15 items plus the consent agenda in less than an hour. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sutherland.
I have nothing tonight, sir.
Very good. Commissioner Mingus.
3 items tonight, Your Honor. First item, Resolution 2425-122. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution number 2425-112, here to attach the resolution approving purchase and installation of replacement ESDA tornado siren located at South Pleasant Hill Road location be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you this resolution number 2425-112 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland.
Thank you, Commissioner Sutherland. This is something we do each year. We shoot to replace one of our tornado sirens. I think we've got one this year, one next year, and then maybe we take a year off. I can't remember exactly what the rotation is, but this is one for South Pleasant Hill Road. Total for the siren is $69,452.60. These sirens last about 20 to 25 years, so that's why obviously we replace not all of them at the same time, but get 25 years out of that one.
Very good. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Mingus,
Aye.
Sutherland,
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Second item tonight, Your Honor, Resolution 2425-113. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that Resolution number 2425-113 here to attach to resolution approving purchase of portable fencing for East Side Center softball and baseball fields be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-113 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. This is exactly what it says is portable fencing to be used at Eastside. People who have been up there for tournaments know that not all levels have the exact same outfield fence, and Corey's here. If I don't get this right, Corey, let me know. But basically, this is to provide portable fencing so that we can utilize all of our fields for a variety of events, age levels, so on and so forth. We're going to purchase 100 panels, which gets us a discount. Total cost for the panels, they're 6 foot by 10 foot, is $95,142.50.
And I'd just like to add, that's been part of our capital plan for East Side. We're going to squeeze it in this fiscal year yet. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you, motion carried.
Final item tonight, Your Honor, Resolution 2425-116. Be it resolved by the Council of the City of East Peoria, Illinois, that resolution number 2425-116 here to attach. Resolution accepting lowest responsible bid and approving engineering services contract for Phase 2 of East Side Center Parking Lot Improvement Project be approved. Mr. Mayor, I move you that this resolution number 2425-116 be accepted on its first reading as read by its title and be laid on the table for no less than 1 week for public inspection.
May I have a second, please?
Aye. A second.
Commissioner Hill, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. This is, again, exactly what I said. This is work on East Side Center's parking lot. It appears, based on the literature I have here, that there's a couple different things that are happening with the parking lot, but I would say that 3/4 of it's going to be touched in one way or another. Is that correct, Mayor, from what I'm looking at?
Not quite 3/4.
A little bit less. But it looks like it includes milling and paving of the parking lot kind of closest to where the softball building is, going toward the stadium, not really in front of the parking lot in front of the building. Looks like it's going to be the part that's not going to be.
Yeah, we're gonna spread it out so that sheet you're looking at lays out what we're gonna do here.
So total cost of the project will not exceed $344,677.53. Of that, that's $291,994.50 for the mill and overlay. There's a 7% contingency of $20,439.62. And then, as I referenced, the engineering services of $32,243.41 for the project.
Very good. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yep.
Because of the engineer that we're choosing on this, I'm going to vote no.
Okay. Well noted. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
No.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
I have 3 ayes and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you. Motion carried.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Anyone in the audience wish to address the council? Nope. Seeing no one. Comments from the council. Commissioner Hill.
I have nothing.
Very good. Commissioner Sutherland.
Sure, I got a few things. First off, this is one of the most boring meetings I've ever been to in my entire life.
You're going to make it exciting right now, aren't you?
Nope. I spoke to you guys about house numbers for people to be able to see which house is which on the street, and I had a meeting with the city this week, and they explained to me that there is a program out there that you can get free numbers if you can't afford them for your house. And I believe there is, from time to time, every other year or so, if you have a curb out front, there's usually a young person that comes and spray paints the curb with your number on it for like 15 or 20 bucks. I had a letter about chickens, like everybody else did, I believe, on the council. And I would like to know when we're going to consider when it's time to go beyond the conservation lots and consider having chickens elsewhere in the city. Does anybody know when that year is up from the...
So we went through the year cycle. And did we sent an email out to the council looking for feedback. I think it's really up to the council's discretion. If you all wanted to alter that policy and expand out that program, that was the intent of it. We only had one applicant that went through the process last year in conservation zoning.
And I
But there is other
realize,
interest.
I understand how come people are afraid to have chickens living next door to them, but I think that we haven't had any problems with chickens. We haven't had any problems with Airbnbs. We haven't had any problems with a lot of things that people were worried about. And I don't think we can vote on it if it isn't brought up. And is it my place to bring up the chicken vote, or whose place is it, yours, or?
So as an elected official, you can certainly propose changes to the code as it stands today.
Okay.
And that, you need to funnel that through Ty, and I'm not going to put any other elected officials on the spot, but I'll speak my piece. This is something that's been brought up numerous times in the 9 years I've served on here. Our pilot program, if you will, that included how our current ordinance reads, to me was a healthy compromise to bring chickens forward in East Peoria. I personally won't waver in my support of any changes being made. For the reasons I stated back then, I'm not going to keep rehashing them, but sounds like you want to propose changes, and you have every right to do so.
Well, I'm not much one on proposing changes, and I might. I haven't really thought about it until I read this letter. But how can we decide if we want to do it if we don't bring it to the floor and vote on it? That's all. I mean, there's a lot of subjects that are like that.
As I said, get with Ty, share with him what changes you propose in the current ordinance, and then they put it on the agenda and bring it forward.
But can't we talk about it without?
Yeah,
being an
you have
ordinance
to lay the
change?
motion on the table, whatever changes you want to make, and then we can talk about it.
But my question, Your Honor, and
Yeah.
that is, if I want to bring up a subject matter without trying to bring it into law, can we talk about it and then decide whether we want to bring it back up and make a change?
You'd have to do a working session, if that's what you're proposing. And that, I would ask the commissioners if that's something they're willing to do.
Well, I'm not pushing for that right now. I'm feeling my way around, trying to figure out how we can talk about it without being so formal, like right now.
Yep.
Okay. The EPA rules that limits repairs to my sewer and my water mains, to limit the city from replacing, I just want to be able to replace 150 or 200 feet at the time, but the Illinois EPA, which usually mirrors the national EPA standards, that means we have to go out and get it engineered. That means that it has to take 6 weeks or 6 months or 3 months to get permission to replace a 30 or a 40 or a 50 or a 100-foot section. And we already have the rules and regulations on setbacks and depth and materials that we can use. I do not understand why they have the thumb on us so bad that we have to spend an extra 10 to 30% to do a job when it has to be done and it's delayed because of them. They're no help. I have not given up on the council talking about trailer park restrictions, which I believe have gone beyond the common sense. And I also want to say that I have not given up on the council at least talking about term limits. I think that we need to talk about it to where we can explain to each other what our positions are, and then we can go home, think about it, and vote on it the next section. But what a lot of people don't understand is I can talk to Seth over lunch. I can talk to the mayor over lunch. I can talk to Mark over lunch, but no more than 2 people sitting up here can get together and talk. It's illegal. And I'm not saying that we do things behind the citizens' back, but how can we have a discussion without taking up time on the floor to talk about it and be able to talk about it? So I may bring up something that I may not support, like the term limits. I was willing to listen to everybody's thing on the term limits, but we couldn't even bring it up because I couldn't bring it up on the floor without the vote, and there was not enough vote to talk about it. I'm done.
Okay. Commissioner Mingus.
Yeah, I didn't have anything, Your Honor, but I'll touch on one of the things that Commissioner said, and that's chickens, because I did receive the same email. I'm assuming that all of us got, and I do not know that resident. I don't even remember if it was a male or female. I think it was a female resident. Chickens, you're right. I mean, since we've been on here and even before, and you've been on the council 4 years longer than the rest of us, have been something that have been talked about. What I'll say is, I do believe there are properties in East Peoria that are not in a conservation zoned area that probably chickens could be, you could have chickens and not have a problem with it. And if Ty or Commissioner Sutherland or Commissioner Hill want to work on something, I would be willing to look at that. I do not believe that chickens belong in neighborhoods, but we do have some areas in East Peoria, lots that are 1 acre, 2 acres that aren't in a neighborhood that are not zoned conservation, where I think if a person wanted to have a chicken or wanted to have 5 chickens or whatever the rule is for the conservation, I don't see why we would say no to those people because they have private lots without neighbors or without houses that are super close. So with that being said, with chickens, just to go on the record, I think there are houses where you could make that work. I think there are a lot of houses where you probably could not make that work. I think there's a little bit of common sense that could be had in looking at that, whether it's a special use or whether you put land restrictions or neighboring houses structure from whatever. I think that you could probably do that. I'd be willing to look at that. Neighborhoods, I would say, I don't think that that's something you want. So I'll just go on the record of that. And Ty, I don't know. I mean, and again, you got to have 3 people that support it. So and I understand that too. But that's where I would go on the record with any citizen, as well as everybody up here.
I saw Ty taking notes, so I encourage all of you to reach out to him and share your thoughts with him, and then we'll see where it goes.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Just one thing I'd like to mention here. Last Friday on February 14th, K-9 Officer Taz, who retired from the East Peoria Police Department, he served us from 2013 to 2020, was retired, but due to health problems, he was euthanized on Friday. I'd like to express my condolences to Officer Josh Hutton and his family. Taz was part of his family, and he received a police escort on Friday from the police station to Dieter's Funeral Home in Washington, where we did a nice little, he was honored with the flag folding ceremony, so rightfully so. But I just want to express my condolences publicly. I know it was a rough day for the Hutton family and some of the officers that served with K-9 Officer Taz. So with that, I'd seek a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn until Tuesday evening, March 4th, 2025 at 6 p.m.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Mingus.
Aye.
Sutherland.
Aye.
Mayor Call.
Aye.
All present voting, aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned until we meet again.